A geopolitical tremor just shook North America. While Washington was looking the other way, Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney quietly struck a preliminary trade deal with China. This isn't just a simple agreement about electric cars and canola. It's a move that could rewrite the rules of trade on the continent, put the United States in a tough spot, and signal a major shift in global alliances. Here's what's really going on. On January 16, 2026, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney announced a landmark agreement in principle with China, calling it a new strategic partnership. Think of it as a classic trade-off. To give its struggling farmers a lifeline, Canada has agreed to slash its tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles. A sharp turn away from the policy of its American allies. This isn't some minor policy adjustment. It's a calculated gamble to de-escalate a trade war that has hammered key Canadian sectors. For the past couple of years, Canada had matched a 100% US tariff on Chinese EVs, effectively building a wall around the market. In response, China hit Canadian agricultural exports with punishing tariffs of its own. Carney's deal breaks the stalemate by trading cars for crops in a high-stakes play for Canada's economy. For Canada, the immediate relief is huge, especially for farmers. The agreement means China is expected to slash tariffs on Canadian canola seed from a crippling 84% down to just 15%. That change alone secures access to a market worth around $4 billion a year. The deal also removes retaliatory tariffs on Canadian lobster, crab, and peas, which is a huge win for agricultural and seafood producers caught in the crossfire. For China, the prize is just as big, a strategic entry into the North American auto market. The deal allows an annual quota of 49,000 Chinese-made electric vehicles to enter Canada, at a tariff rate of just 6.1%, a massive drop from the 100% tariff that was in place. This is more than just a short-term win. The agreement will be reviewed in 3 years, with Canada expecting it to drive future Chinese investment in its EV manufacturing and supply chains. And this is where the deal starts to make waves in Washington. The main point of friction is Canada's dramatic break from American policy on Chinese EVs. The US is holding the line with its 100% tariff to protect its own auto industry. Canada's new 6.1% tariff creates a potential side door for affordable Chinese vehicles right into the highly integrated North American market. The North American auto sector is a tangled web of supply chains that crisscross the border. The US-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA, has strict rules of origin to prevent exactly this kind of scenario, but it's a complicated issue. Now, there's a real fear that cheap Chinese EVs could flood the Canadian market, undercutting American car makers and sparking messy trade disputes. It's no surprise that Ontario's Premier, Doug Ford, blasted the deal as terrible for his province's auto sector, warning it will have to compete with cheap, subsidized imports. This agreement is about more than cars and canola. It's sending a signal about global alliances. With this move, Prime Minister Carney is showing that Canada is ready to carve its own path, even if it means diverging from the United States on major strategic issues. While Canadian officials say the US was kept in the loop, the action itself speaks volumes. This move potentially weakens the unified front among Western nations against some of China's trade practices. It hands Beijing a significant diplomatic victory and shows that US influence isn't absolute, and it makes other countries wonder, if America's closest ally is cutting its own deal with China, why shouldn't they? This agreement could accelerate China's economic footprint in North America, challenging US dominance in its own neighborhood and forcing everyone to rethink the future of trade. What started as a pragmatic solution for Canadian farmers has cracked open the North American trade bloc, thrown down a challenge to the US auto industry, and signaled a potential shift in global power. Prime Minister Carney made a bold gamble, betting that Canada's future is better served by engaging with the world as it is, not as we wish it. Is this a brilliant move for Canada, or a mistake that will strain its most important alliance? Let me know your thoughts below. And for more analysis on the big shifts shaping our world, make sure to subscribe.